And then how would you prepare the Roadrunner meat?
Then after I've stripped the Roadrunner of all of its feathers and gutted the Roadrunner, then I would put it on a stick. I would impale the Roadrunner, put it on a stick, rotisserie over an open flame.
Welcome to another episode of 3 Minute Critics. I am Eric.
I am Tony.
Okay.
Today on 3 Minute Critics, we're going to be reviewing the third installment of the Die Hard trilogy. Or no, it's not a trilogy, it's like a five-a-G. I think it's like 5 of them.
Are there?
I don't know.
No.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
It is a vengeance.
Rated R. From 1995, starring the one and only Bruce Willis.
He's in it.
And you know, one of my faves, Sam Jack.
Sam L.
And Jeremy Irons found his way into this film somehow, and it was directed by John McTiernan. And Eric is going to tell us what this film is about.
My pleasure. In the third installment of the Die Hard series, we find Detective John McClane, a wreck of a man. He's recently suspended from the New York Police Department for his reckless. He gets
like
reckless
Dr.
once in a
Seuss.
while. Yeah, for his reckless behavior and his bad attitude. Imagine that. But when a bomb goes off in Manhattan in a department store, a cryptic terrorist, played by Jeremy Irons, takes New York City hostage in a lethal game of Simon Says. And McClane is mysteriously the object of his mania. With the help of a Harlem store owner named Zeus, played by Sam Jackson, McClane must race all over New York, trying to decipher a frustrating set of puzzles crafted by the wily and cunning terrorist. Good.
Wow.
God, man.
That sounds like a Die Hard plot.
Well, then let's discuss the Die Hard plot. We're going to put
All
3
right.
minutes on the clock. And Tony, please give me your thoughts on Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I was surprised by this film.
so?
I thought it would be far worse than it was. There were many points of this film where I was enjoying myself.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
First, I will say, though, Jeremy Irons, who is a phenomenal actor in most cases, is not necessarily a phenomenal actor in this film. His accent is all over the place. I don't know what that accent is. It's certainly not German.
But sometimes he's trying to be, because he's trying to play different. Okay, so let's back up for just a moment.
Back it up.
We get into this third installment, like we said, McClane is just kind of beaten up and taken down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now he's pulled back in to being a cop.
Yeah.
And he is partnered up with the store owner, played by Sam Jackson.
Yes.
And I think there is a great...
They have a very nice chemistry.
It's
very nice
it's
chemistry
very good.
between the two of them. None of that chemistry helps Jeremy Irons' performance in this film. Now, I will say there are things in this film that you, first of all, seeing New York in 1995 it's weird. It's very surreal when you see the World Trade Center very frequently in the shots of Manhattan. You know what's great is the lower-fi, older technology of the special effects.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
The scene where the subway train comes off the rails and comes around in the station.
And it's really a subway train. They really did that.
Somehow they're doing something that's really happening, because you can see that it's really happening, and it's phenomenal.
Now, it's not to say
it looks so good.
There are some cheesy special effects in this,
it's in stark contrast to some other effects that are terrible.
Right, some of them, but for the most part, what Tony's saying is spot on. They went with old school stunts and actual effects on site, and they made it look really...
Yes.
Like a real action movie should be. And this was an action movie that was action from beginning to end.
And with all the ridiculous lines and cliches that you would expect. But they do it tongue-in-cheek. They enjoy it as much as we do. They know it's ridiculous.
You gotta love a movie where Sam Jackson is just yelling at you the whole time.
And he has more
fantastic.
MFers in this film than Snakes on a Plane. I mean, it's nonstop. It's every other
and
line.
Who doesn't love Snakes on a Plane?
There are some other great cliches. The crazy blonde bitchin' badass barricade blocker with the crazy auger that she's got where she goes into the vault.
Right.
You know where they go, and then she's vicious and she's killing people with a sickle, and she's
off the rails.
I don't think she's a line. I don't think she has one line.
No, but it doesn't need to. A very unique character
in the film, but it's great. She's fun. That's
and you get to see all, and they just go all throughout New York. You got Harlem, you got Manhattan, you get
Manhattan. New York's beautiful,
and a nice up close of Central Park at high speed. Where
that's a great scene.
They don't don't really care about the pedestrians.
They're driving the cab
through
Central Park, and it's really good stunts.
High energy.
Great driving. Speaking of driving.
And high energy, there's the high energy horn.
High energy horn, which always means one thing, and one thing only. Time to rate the film on 5 stars.
Oh, it is.
And Eric's going to start.
I had a blast watching this movie. I always do. I honestly think that this is the better of the sequels. I think this being the third of the Die Hard films, better than Die Hard 2. It's just a blast. I like all the characters in here. I like the nonstop action. I like the effects that they do, the actual special effects.
There are some crappy ones.
Yeah, and with the exception of the very end of this movie, which I think they just kind of phoned in and it didn't go too well, I would give this a little bit higher if it weren't for that ending, but I'm going to give this still a solid 3.5 stars. Very well entertained. Could have been more if that ending was better. Tony.
Wow, I don't think I could agree with you more on this film. I completely agree with that assessment. Everything about it. It's really fun, super fun to watch throughout until the last 15 freaking minutes, which are just it's just like they were like, I don't know how to wrap this up. Okay, well, let's do this.
Yeah, let's
not
pick
good.
anything out of our ass.
And that's where the bad special effects are too.
Yeah,
at the end of the film. There's some explosions where you're like, what was that?
Could have been so great if they wrapped it up right.
But it's still really fun, and it's really interesting to see a 1995 version of New York complete with all of the race dynamics that were happening at that time, which is interesting to go and revisit, actually, because sometimes some of it is kind of poignant and the rest of it isn't. But still, really worth going back to watch this film, even without the last 15 minutes included. So, for me, I'm giving it also exactly 3.5 stars.
It's solid. This is a solid, fun, entertaining action film.
It is.
And hey, it's Bruce Willis, it's Die Hard.
And it's meant to be goofy, meant to be ridiculous.
You're going to have a good time.
You will have a good time.
All the time. But, speaking of time, that's all the time we have for this episode.
We're done.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much.
We would love it for...
We'd love it for you to subscribe, like it,
share it, all those things.
Slam it.
But you know what?
Whack it.
Until next time.
With a flip it.
We are...
The 3
Minute
Rich Y'all.
Show.
See you, people. Monkeys in my pants, dance a little dance. All of my friends, they're not living in France. Gonna go away, gonna stay in that place where I like to fillet a roadrunner. He's delicious, he's tasty. I like to basty.